In this video, let's discuss about one of the important interview SSAS interview question, that is how to disable an attribute hierarchy in SSAS dimensions. So in most of the cases, you will not need all the dimensions to be all the columns of the dimension table in your analysis service queue. So in that case, you can simply delete it. For example, if I don't want French name, I can remove it from the dimension attribute hierarchy list. And for example, I don't want this, I can delete it. This is one way of removing or restricting the columns of your dimension table that is not required for your analysis service purpose, analysis services queue. So there is one more way in which you can keep the attribute in the attribute hierarchy list, but you can disable it. That means you make it unavailable for querying in the SSAS queue. So the property that you have to use for doing the same is attribute hierarchy enable property. Let me show you an example. For example, let me process this dimension first, and let's see what all the attributes will be shown in the browser after the process is completed. First, let me click on run. May take some time. Let me pause for you guys. Okay, it's completed. Process successfully, and it has read the data of all the attributes that are defined here. And if I go to the browser, you can see calendar quarter, calendar semester, everything is available. The attributes that are available in the attributes pane are showing in the browser. If I select any day number of the week, it will show the day number of the week. Now, let me disable an attribute. Let's go with calendar quarter. I'm going to properties window by pressing F4. But after selecting the attribute, I have to select F4 or right click and go to the properties, and you can see the properties window which is pinned on the right hand side of the SQL Server Data Tools. And here you'll find an option called attribute hierarchy enable. So if you double click it, it will change to false, and you can see here there is a slight difference between these two icons. This is the one which is enabled to true, and which is enabled to false is the calendar quarter here. Now let me process it. So if I click on process, it's not going to take much time. It's completed. Now let me go to the browser and see whether I have the attribute showing in the list. If you let me reconnect, and I don't find the calendar quarter because I disabled it. I made it unavailable for querying purpose. Now, why I have to go for disable option when I can delete it? I can simply delete it. Why I have to go for disable option? So the reason is, if you delete it, okay, you can't use it in another attributes to order the attribute. For example, you can order an attribute. Let me take calendar quarter, or let's say physical quarter. And if you go to the properties, you have a property called order by key, order by name, order by different attribute key, and order by different attribute name. For example, here in this case, physical quarter, I want to order by using calendar quarter instead of physical quarter. This happens in most of the cases. For example, you have month names. You have month as one attribute and month number as another attribute, but you want to order the month name based on the attribute month number. So that means you are using another attribute to order a different attribute, right? So in this case, if you have disabled the attribute, it doesn't matter. You can use it for ordering purpose. So order by a different attribute which is disabled is possible. That is why people may need disabled attributes in few scenarios instead of removing the attribute completely from the attribute list. So this is the advantage of having disabled attribute. That is why we have an option called attribute hierarchy disable, which you don't want to show to the users, and you don't want to be part of a attribute hierarchy list, but you want that particular attribute to order a different attribute. And obviously the problem if you disable the attribute is you can't use that attribute for creating any hierarchies, user defined hierarchies. Now I dragged calendar quarter, and let me change the property of this guy first, or else it will be showing this red underline, which means an error message. Okay, I changed it to key, order by key. Now the error should go off. Okay, here when I try to drag an attribute which is disabled, you can see the calendar quarter. To define a user-defined hierarchy, it's saying that the source attribute does not have the attribute hierarchy enabled. So only the attributes that are enabled can be used in defining the user-defined hierarchies, but the attributes which are disabled can be used to order some other attributes. So there's the advantage and disadvantage of disabling the attribute. Hope you understood the concept of attribute hierarchy enable. This is very important interview question. So hope you get the concept, and watch for more and more videos on SSIS, SSAS, and SSRS interview questions. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.